Today in this video, we're going to take another look at a low-cost and highly popular Bluetooth solution. This is a Bluetooth cassette adapter, and what this little device does is this device will take a Bluetooth signal in over here. Now this has circuitry inside the tape, and basically it's a micro Bluetooth receiver. We have a battery pack in here as well. We have our little hubs here. We have a gear inside that keeps these meshed together. Kind of fools the cassette tape player into thinking there's actually a real cassette in there. And then what happens is this takes your Bluetooth signal from your phone or tablet and converts it to an analog signal, and it transmits that signal through this little tape head right here, or transducer. Now these are interesting little devices. They're kind of cool. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but most of these will accept input signal and will output a signal. So what this is going to do, this is going to output a signal and mimic a cassette tape, the little magnetized particles that are on a cassette tape, okay? And what that's going to do is that's going to transfer them to the tape head inside of here. It's going to go through the circuitry and then out through your speakers. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so to save time, I've already got this device paired to my elderly tablet here. And even this old tablet pairs to this pretty quickly. Basically, you just push the on-off button, hold it till it flashes red and blue. You find the device on your tablet or phone. It will come up as eLook, and you just connect to it, and you're pretty much good to go. I mean, it's pretty simple, and I was kind of expecting a struggle from this as far as pairing goes, because, you know, some of these cheaper devices, you just never know. However, this is a newer version. I think I bought this about a year ago, and I believe, again, it's Bluetooth 5.1. Real quick, on the side here, we have a micro USB for charging. It takes about 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours to charge this, and then I get about 3 to 4 hours runtime with it. Anyway, so we have our charge port, our momentary on-off / pairing button, and then a little flashing indicator here. So anyway, we're going to put this in the cassette tape player side up. All right. I'm already playing. Now don't forget, you guys, turn up your volume on your device. And what I always do is I always start with the car stereo or the home stereo volume all the way off, okay, or counterclockwise. Okay, so that works out like that. All right, so I think that's pretty straightforward, and we could end the video here, really. However, and they do work, right? A lot of people slam these, but if you, again, have an elderly car stereo and you want to enjoy your Bluetooth playlist for road trips or just whatever, or your favorite podcast or whatever, this is a decent way to do it without actually having to rip into your dashboard, modify anything, or buy a new car stereo unit. I mean, to some people, Bluetooth is just, you know, really not a big deal. All right, let's talk about a few of the downsides. Audio quality. Audio quality is not going to be the best, obviously, for a couple reasons. A, going from our Bluetooth receiver here to some sort of a micro-sized DAC, digital analog converter, and then transmitting that through that tape head to the other tape head. So we have a loss of audio quality in this little transfer action right here. We have a loss of audio quality from this tape head to this tape head, being the one in here, because of the mechanical issues. Some stereos might be a little bit out of adjustment. So if the azimuth on your stereo is a little bit out of adjustment, and that means basically is the head inside the stereo out of alignment, in relation to how it rides with this or how it jives with this can greatly affect the audio quality. So again, if your stereo is out of tune, or maybe that tape head is dirty, that's going to affect the audio quality of this and make it even worse. Okay, so that's a fact. That's something to deal with these. Also, not all car stereos play well with this. Some refuse to play this. So again, that could be a hit and miss. However, all that being said, if you just want a really quick and simple Bluetooth solution, again, for an elderly car stereo, this really isn't a bad way to go. I quite frankly would rather have this than one of the FM modulated type systems, which we're going to look at in the next video. All right, so I'll leave links to this down below, and I appreciate it. Please leave questions or comments, and thanks for watching. Okay, a little bonus footage. I want to talk about the audio quality of this real quick, and so we're going to talk about it, do a demonstration, and pros and cons. Pros, real quick, very easy to pair, very easy to use, and if you have a nice old car stereo, it'll work very well. It also works in home stereos, and that shouldn't be a problem. However, every once in a while, we will run across a deck, whether it's just the design of the mechanism or not, and it will not accept these. So be prepared for that. Don't be all too surprised if it does not work, because just some stereos are finicky like that. All right. I mean, that's the non-technical explanation of it anyway. Okay, so one of the complaints with these are low output and a muffled output. So that is usually caused by, remember this head, how I said earlier in this video that we have these heads, you know, the stereo has the same head as this, basically. And what they do is, and I was saying transmit, which is possibly the wrong term, transfer. We're basically touching this head physically up against the head in the car stereo. All right. And again, if this head is not lined up properly, then this head, which is theoretically lined up properly, you will lose treble, so you'll lose a lot of your highs, and you will actually have lower volume. So what happens is, when you're listening to, say, the FM tuner or another cassette, you pop out the cassette, you put this one in, and this one's about half the volume of what you were playing in here before, or what the tuner volume is. That's usually because your stereo could possibly be out of alignment. All right. And then the next complaint is noise. So some stereos will interfere with this. And what that is that can be from a couple things. That can either be from the motor itself generates electrical noise. These motors were old, they're not brushless, and they would generate a little bit of electrical noise, not normally heard in a cassette tape. However, when you have something like this, with this little preamp circuit in here and the DAC, and then of course this physical touching from one head to another, that it can be a source for noise. So people experience sometimes ignition noise coming from their car, or fuel injector, or some sort of an electrical noise coming from their vehicle. And then some folks will get motor noise from the stereo itself. And that is my case. So I will demonstrate that. So let's go with the difference in volume. Now, I'm pretty lucky, and that's one reason why I've saved this deck since like 89 or 90. This has a really good tape mechanism in it. It's a good sounding tape deck. Also a great tuner. Always keep your eye out for old school vintage stereos. Anyway, so let's do this. I've got it on local channel. Let's go to another one. We'll go to Rock 103. And I already have this device paired up with my elderly tablet here. So we're going to go back and forth. So let's do the difference in level test first, okay? Okay, here we go. So again, as you notice, this just kind of natural for me, but I always start off with turning the stereo's volume down. This is whether it's either a car stereo or a home stereo. Now I have made sure that the volume control on my tablet is up all the way. Let's hit play. Now, as you can tell, I have all my treble, bass. Okay, now we're going to change playback modes. We're going to go to FM tuner. Here we go. Okay, so I have to cut that short for obvious reasons, so there you go. On this particular stereo, there is a slight difference, but it's not all that bad. I'm not using really high-end speakers or anything like that, just some old Minimus 7s I have plugged in. But anyway, there's that. Okay, so let's do the next one, and that is noise. And a lot of people don't describe the noise, but I'm going to show you what I heard. So let me put this song on pause. We're just going to put the device back in. Okay, now I'm going to turn this up all the way. Okay, can you hear that? That's what that is. Now, I happen to be lucky enough, and this thing's matching up with the Bluetooth device pretty good, so I don't have to jack the volume all the way up to get decent sound. Sometime, or let me say a lot of times, that is the case where you will pop one of these into your stereo and you're going to need to turn the volume up to actually get any decent volume out of it, and especially compared to whatever mode you were just listening to. So at that point, you're going to have to put up with the noise in the background. Anyway, I just thought you guys would like to see that. Thanks for watching. Cheers, everybody.